Hello, hockey and basketball fans. My name is David. Thought I would start this video approaching 4:50 on the afternoon of Thursday, 29th of June, 2023, North American Eastern Time. I know it's been a while since I've put up video, over a week. Thought with my thoughts about the NHL offseason, the Golden Knights' win of a Stanley Cup. Definitely deserves congratulations. I also congratulate the Florida Panthers for their second ever appearance in a Cup final. There's no doubt whatsoever that Canada's NBA and NHL teams have work to do. Although also the Major League Soccer teams that represent Canadian cities, basically the Whitecaps of Vancouver, Toronto FC, and CF Montreal. It's been hard to get into soccer, but it's probably going to be that there's going to be kind of a lull in hockey action, even though hockey is easily a favorite sport of mine to watch. It's been very interesting moves around the NHL, including also drafting. The NHL entry draft of 2023 is almost done, or if it isn't already. I mean, the first round was definitely a lot of excitement whether David Reinbacher, an Austrian-born defenseman, was going to be drafted by the Canucks. Well, it turned out to be drafted by the Habs. And Canucks took Tom Wielander. Who knows if that's going to turn out well. I mean, some claim that he's just another Oli Ulevi. Ulevi number 2. We'll have to see what happens. But again, I congratulate all prospects who've been drafted by NHL teams. I wish them all the best in their hockey careers. Some of them may be may end up playing in the NHL one day. Who knows? Easton Cowan, drafted by the Leafs, may not end up there. Who knows? It'll be interesting to find out. To say at least. I mean, they don't just, a lot of players just don't go like that. I mean, yes, Connor Bedard, drafted at number 1 by the Chicago Blackhawks, may very well end up getting a lot of NHL action. But last year's number 1 overall pick, Yuri Slafkovsky, had a rough season, was injured, missed a lot of time, and we threw 40 regular season games, ended up producing just over a quarter point on average. Not great. But I wouldn't call Slafkovsky a bust just yet. It may be that he'll need time to develop in the minors. And if so, probably more with the Laval Rocket than the 12-year Lions. The Laval Rocket in the AHL. The 12-year Lions in the ECHL, East Coast Hockey League. So yes, there have been some moves. Florian Shekai, 101st picked by the Habs. I'm not sure if he's related to Arbor Shekai. He's a defenseman with the Habs, but no, whatever. And yeah, it's definitely very interesting times with the Raptors as well, with quite possibly Fred Van Vliet and Jakob Hurdle, both gone of the end of the month via free agency. It's going to be interesting to find out how well the Raptors do during their upcoming season. But I mean, I'm just it's a good thing I'm a follower of various Canadian NHL teams, not just the Leafs and Raptors, because I've been disappointed a lot of times before. There's no word yet on what Brad Treliving, the GM of the Leafs, formerly of the Flames, plans to do about the core. Whether their breakup is on the way. Still no word, but time's ticking to at least decide on going into training camp, which of Matthews and Nylander are getting new deals. Getting deals that, if they do get them, will start during the 2024-25 NHL season. That's a problem. there's also about trying to round out the roster. There's no way that running things back as much as possible is going to work. It hasn't worked in the past. The Leafs ended up this many wins short of a Stanley Cup final. The Oilers had this many wins short, so it was kind of a little bit of a step back. But that only the Oilers managed to get closer to a cup final among Canada's teams than the Leafs did shows just how badly the others did. I look at the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, to the claim made by President Shanahan of the Leafs that running things back as much as possible is the way to go, there's no guarantee the Leafs will have regular season success. Yes, the Leafs have, from the 2017-18 season onward, finished no worse than this in any division in which they have been placed, whether on points or, in the case of the 2019-20 season, point percentage. That said, there will be changes to the roster, and who knows how many of them will propel the Leafs forward. It's not like the Leafs made significant progress, or at least significant enough progress, in postseason play for me to call them Stanley Cup contenders. The Leafs were outmatched physically by the Panthers, and Panthers showed why they deserved to be in a cup final, whilst the Leafs did not show why they deserved to be anywhere near one. So yeah, another trade as well. Pierre-Luc Dubois for Gabe Vilardi and a few other pieces. Kings are going to look very different. I don't know if the Kings got taken to the cleaners by Jets GM Cheveldayoff, but Kings are definitely going to look different. But after 2 straight first-round exits, I mean, I don't blame the Kings GM for having tried to make a big move. Maybe send a message that, it's time to try to win a playoff series, at the very least, after so many seasons of not having won one. Who knows, though? It's going to be interesting, at least, to find out. So, I thought I would do is, I'm gonna get going pretty soon. I'm not going out. I don't plan to go out on this Thursday evening Eastern time, but I like it very much that there's some excitement in the off season, and see how the Canadian NHL and NBA teams do. How many of them see postseason action? How many of them win playoff series? Ideally, there will be at least one non-Habs one that gets all the way to a cup final. I respect the success of the Habs, but I believe quite strongly that it's time for a non-Habs Canadian team to get to the Stanley Cup final. And if the Leafs aren't able to do it, then hopefully at least one of during the coming season, Sens, Jets, Oilers, Flames, and Canucks will. Who knows? I'm not convinced the Canucks are there. I mean, let's face facts. All the Canucks have basically done in this off, since their 2022, since having played their last game of the 2022-23 NHL season, have bought out the contract of defenseman Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And I don't really care how Swedish the roster is. What matters is, are these players any good? And I'm not convinced. I have to see what happens with the Canucks. What their plans are to replace Colin Delia, who was a sieve during the most recent season. Picked up off free agency for the Blackhawks, was an absolute sieve. I don't know how many times I said, "Oh, that's another one." A lot of times, though. Team played by various Canadian teams. Yeah, even Hellebuck allowed quite a few ugly goals in regular season games, and also in the postseason. And that's Game 5. How many ugly goals did Hellebuck give up? He gave up 3. 4-1 loss. But again, if Hellebuck had not given up those goals, yes, perhaps the Jets would have had a chance to win that game. But after having gone down 3-1 because of rather inconsistent scoring, in the large most part. I believe Game 3 was a 5-4 double overtime loss to the Golden Knights. It was just, predicted that after Game 4, like, those Golden Knights were not going to be the Leafs of 2021. I was right on. Indeed, the Golden Knights displayed a killer instinct that had been pretty much second to none. And the Jets team, desperate for offense, thought they'd get a goal on a hand pass by then winger Blake Wheeler. Well, as hard as Wheeler tried to win that face-off, he failed. It was looking like he was not going to win it. But a hand pass was just, it just didn't work. I'm concerned that these Leafs, instead of starting off kind of like NHL 500 or so, like half the points available, will end the regular season portion of October like the Canucks did. And if not, let's look what happened with the Jets. The Jets ended up in, there was this time in June, there was a video after the 71st game of the regular season. Peg City Hockey YouTube man produced a short video, claimed to have wanted to stop watching that game about midway through the third period. I don't blame him. After all, the Jets were going to lose. They hadn't scored by that point and wouldn't score whatsoever. Well, neither did Kyle Yamamoto against the Golden Knights in that May playoff series. And now, thanks to a trade between initiated between Ken Holland of the Oilers and his Red Wings counterpart Steve Yzerman, Yamamoto is Yamo gone from the Oilers. Kostin is Cost gone from the Oilers for so-called quote-unquote future considerations. What those are, we don't know. But it's just, I know, it's really to see why, effectively, by the truth that Ken Holland claimed, that Stevie Y, can you please get these players off my back, off my chest? And that's what happened. Yamo and Kostin are gone. Future consideration not. Yeah, let them play their way. I mean, maybe they'll see playoff action. Who knows? I mean, Pierre-Luc Dubois may very well see playoff action with the Kings. Whereas his most recent former team may end up falling well short. And I still predict these Jets are going to have a tough time making the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. And I do predict that there will be 2 Canadian teams at the very least that don't qualify for the Stanley Cup playoffs. But what about those that do? I'd say probably Edmonton Oilers are a good bet to get in. And then what happens from there, we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to get ready. I'm going to get on with the rest of my day, see how the rest of it goes. I'm going to say, go Leafs go Raptors go Toronto FC go, and go Canada go.